Welcome back guys to another episode of Decentralized Chain. It's Feroz bringing you the latest news, reviews and blockchain tech. So today we are going to be reviewing UChain. Now UChain is claiming to be the first public infrastructure blockchain specifically designed to the global sharing economy. Now along with other sharing economy enterprises, its aim is to build an underlying blockchain network to solve the current problems of trust and data abuse. Now it's going to be providing application interfaces as well as software development kits to all sharing economy enterprises to be able to issue their own token and build their application on top of the UChain network. So together the aim here is UChain becomes the global autonomous sharing economy ecosystem. Now if we actually have a look at the solution, it's really aiming to solve four key problems within the sharing economy. First of all, we've got peer-to-peer. So the decentralized peer-to-peer blockchain network with smart contracts, and the aim here really is to cut off the intermediaries and put more back into the pockets. We've got user credit passport. So that really is looking at creating a cross-application user credit passport with proprietary credit rating algorithm to effectively record user behavior. Then we also have the distributed data storage. So really here they're encrypting data, shredding it and storing on different nodes to address security. And then lastly, we have token incentives. So a tokenized ecosystem to increase participation and engagement of the users and enterprises. Now, UChain's overall framework can be divided into four layers. They have a core blockchain layer, an API and SDK layer, a service layer, and application layer. Now, if we start with number one, we have the core blockchain layer. Now, this consists of a distributed hash table based distributed storage protocol with data being indexed by file content, so thereby hash, and instead of a file path, hence URL. And large files will be partitioned into fixed size data chunks and distributed across multiple nodes. This then also houses the Ripple protocol consensus algorithm and the elliptic curve cryptography. Now the system here is stating to be able to push around 1,000 transactions per second. Now if we then move up to number two, what we have here is the application programming interface as well as the software development kit layer, and this basically allows programmers to be able to interface to interact with UChain platform as well as a software development kit to allow developers to create software applications on a specific platform. So this layer really provides basic services such as user management, credit rating, transaction, and the smart contract module responsible for registering of contracts and managing the trigger conditions and executions. The third layer is the service layer, and this provides management of accounts, policies, systems, and contracts. And then lastly, you have the application layer, and through the API and the SDK on UChain's open platform, enterprises in the sharing economy can build dApps or simply migrate their existing app onto UChain. As we then move on, we also have the token utility. So UCN is the basic unit on UChain, and the value of all other tokens is derived from UCN. So those who wish to join or leave the UChain ecosystem must buy or sell UCN in order to do so. Now firstly, by staking UCN, users can get UCP, and UCP is just the same as UCN but with voting power, and as such gives the holder higher access to the actual ecosystem. Now in terms of the additional use cases beyond staking, we have transactional value. So UCN is circulated in all dApps built on top of UChain as payment for kinds of transactions. We've got supply chain vouchers. So UCN can be used as vouchers for the purchase of assets from suppliers, such as sharing bicycles, smart devices. You've also got data contribution rewards. So users will be rewarded with UCN if they decide to contribute their data to the development of the ecosystem. We've also got value-added services, so UCN can be used for payment of API services provided by UChain. We've also got community rewards, so UCN will be rewarded to the community contributors, such as third-party developers and community operators. You've got user incentives, so UCN can be earned by improving your community activity, such as onboarding more users, creating valuable content. And then you've also got fees. So all fees will be denominated in UCN, such as the transaction fee from sharing services, as well as decentralized exchanges. And then lastly, you've got ad delivery. So UCN can also be paid for advertisements, so delivering through the UCN advertising system. Now, in terms of looking at the roadmap, key dates for the roadmap are Q2 for the public sale, Q3 for the testnet, and Q4 for mainnet. And in Q1 2019, they'll be looking at onboarding the actual UBicycle dApps, which we'll talk about a bit more in detail a bit later on. Now, in terms of the team, looking at most of the core management team, they appear to have around, if not over 10 years of industry experience, with the exception of a few. The founder and CEO, Ian Yun, is also the founder of and the CEO of UBicycle, which according to UChain is the 4th largest sharing platform in the world. Now, he is also the founding member of Dianping, which is China's largest service e-commerce platform, also known as the Chinese Yelp, and also has won numerous awards for entrepreneurship in China. Now, looking at Grace Min, who's also the co-founder. Now, she is also the CEO of UBicycle for North America and has been the founder and CEO of previous companies. We also have Will Zhu, the Chief Technical Officer, previously worked as the Technical Director at eBay, Telnav, and Dianping. And then lastly, we have Chris Tao, who is the Chief Strategy Officer with over 12 years of experience at Microsoft in holding strategy and business-related roles. Now, the remaining members of the team are made up of experiences across system architecture, operations, and marketing, working for previous organizations such as Dianping, IBM, Microsoft, and GlaxoSmithKline. Now, if we look at the advisors, we have founders of previous blockchain projects such as Jimmy Ha from Apex Network and Jonathan Ha, CEO of Red Pulse, and a multitude of organizational and VCs who have backed blockchain projects through to organizations also operating in the sharing economy space. Now, in terms of looking at the token metrics, the UCN total supply is still yet to be determined at the conclusion of the ICO, but they are looking to raise around 42,000 Ethereum. At the time of this video, this is coming to just over 25.5 million, with Ethereum floating at around $610. Now, the token itself represents 40% of the supply, with whitelisting starting on 10th of June, followed by public pre-sale on the 20th of June, running for 3 days and ending with a crowd sale on the 10th of July. Now, the private sale will look to raise around 22,000 Ethereum with 50% bonus, and half the funds will be locked for 6 months. The public pre-sale will look to raise around 8,000 Ethereum with a 15% bonus, and the bonus portion will be locked for 3 months. And then the crowd sale is looking to raise 12,000 Ether with no bonus. Now, the UCN exchange rate is looking to be around 5,000 UCNs for 1 Ether. And then what we have in terms of the remainder is around 35% for the ecosystem. We've got 15% reserved for the team with a lockup of 3 years, and a third of tokens being released every year starting a year after the crowd sale. And then lastly, we have 10% as company reserves. Now, in terms of the actual awareness and hype, they have Telegram at around 19,000 users and Twitter currently floating at around 2,200, as well as Reddit and Medium sites. In terms of my final thoughts on the project, I'm giving the actual project a 3.5. Whilst I wouldn't say the space is saturated, there are a number of ICOs upcoming in this space, as well as some already operating. In terms of the prototype, I've given this a 0 for now, as they have not yet ready to showcase anything. And what is available currently is the iOS App Store for UBicycle, which will be incorporated onto the actual UChain blockchain next year in Q1. Now, in terms of the actual team, I've given them a 4. They have a very strong team in general, with strong brands behind them from industry experience. Now, looking at the advisors, I've also given that a 4. They have advisors from previous blockchain projects, huge institutional and organizational partners. The one that really stands out to me, however, is their existing partnership with UBicycle. Now, this strategic partnership with UBicycle North America, Grab Cycle in Southeast Asia, UPark, Local King, and UCar combined gives them a future platform that will have access to over 100 million users, operations in 4 continents, 8 countries, and 200 cities, as well as over 100 million app downloads every day with around 1 million daily transactions and over 30 million active users. So this certainly gives them the reach and breadth to be able to get the message out about UChain, as well as an existing user base for them to actually tap onto and migrate onto the actual platform itself. In terms of the actual token metrics, I've given this a 3. Whilst I really like the lock-in periods at all stages of the sale, the total supply to me is still unclear, and the amount raised does seem slightly on the higher side, given that the CEO are integrating their platform into existing businesses. So one would say that this could have been partly funded by the partnership with UBicycle, as the founders and CEOs are also CEOs of UBicycle. In terms of the hype, I've given this a 3. The TG user is floating, certainly around 19,000, and that's a lot. Although I would have liked to have seen more within the actual Twitter space, but I suspect as we get closer to the actual pre-sale token sale, hype will naturally increase with this. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review. If this is your first time here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and certainly if you are a returning member, thank you, I appreciate it, as well as please don't forget to share and like the content. Anyway guys, see you on the next episode.